All right, welcome to the Patriot Hour for Monday, January 28th, 2019. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by, folks. Thanks for joining in. Thanks for giving us some of your time. We truly, truly appreciate it. We got some interesting articles here we're going to go over. A couple different things. We got Pelosi re-inviting Trump to deliver the State of the Union after all. We said it would maybe happen if she felt gracious enough or whatever, but it looks like she has re-invited him. So a couple different things we'll jump into here. Again, if you're new, please subscribe. That way you don't miss any of our releases. You'll get alerted if you ring the bell. And plus, we got our live stream capabilities back. So we go live from time to time. And when we do a live show, it all kind of matters if you get the alert and then you could jump in. Live show's not really the same if you're watching it after the fact, other than the information. But if you want to partake in some of the direct questions, sometimes we have call-ins, and we get into lots of different things. Okay, let's jump right into it here, folks. I actually want to take a minute here on the Twitter. CBP, all right, the Customs and Border Patrol, they had released this video earlier this morning. Okay, it's about 49 individuals from Guatemala who illegally crossed an outdated section of a 16-foot border wall yesterday. During the incident, a 3-year-old girl fell off the smuggler's ladder. Agents rendered aid to the child, who sustained minor injuries. So it's just a 43-second clip here, not really any audio, of course. This will show you kind of what's going on. And again, this kind of, hey, they don't work. Well, it's a 16-foot fence or an outdated area. And yeah, they're taking advantage. If they're not digging under, they are going over in this area. There you see him taking off. Or ones that couldn't get through, I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what side's which. I guess this side would probably be the U.S. side. So, all right. Exit now. All right, we'll jump into this article here from Politico. Pelosi re-invites Trump to deliver the State of the Union. So we were all kind of baffled. Anyway, she said until the government reopens, which it reopened. And then they were talking about still wasn't going to happen. Speaker Nancy Pelosi has sent a letter to President Donald Trump asking him to deliver the State of the Union address on February 5th. Pelosi had previously rescinded her invitation to Trump to give the address on the 29th. Citing security concerns due to the government shutdown. Trump and Republicans were furious at Pelosi's unprecedented move. Well, think about that. She was trying to fly out of the country at the same time. And I guess there was plenty of security for her and all the family members and everyone else that was wanting to go. 5 Air Force. Tom Fenton has done some really good work. Back in 2010, things like this have come up. I guess, we know about Air Force One and how that works, but I guess there's several ones for congressional members, and they book them up every weekend, and then they unbook them a lot when nothing planned. It's like they almost book them every weekend to make sure they're there, and then close to the weekend, Pelosi in the past has sent we're sorry, we're not going to use them. And that throws a big wrench in our military. The Air Force has been being used. They got a whole system of people that cater to these politicians. I think in the year 2010, in Tom Fenton's book, it talks about the amount of the bill, the $20 million that they'll spend. I don't know if it was in the 1 year for alcohol on the taxpayers. The lavish amount of food and alcohol on these flights, these military flights for them to go from DC to California or wherever they want to go. And it's all at the taxpayers' expense. Just the amount of drinking in the air alone is millions of dollars, folks, that we pay for. This is a kind of fruitless spending and abuse of just abuse, waste, fraud, and abuse. So Pelosi had rescinded now, but they were powerless to prevent it now that the government's back. So with the shutdown ending last Friday after a 5-week stalemate between Trump and the Hill Democrats, negotiations begin over the weekend to reschedule the State of the Union as soon as possible, ASAP. According to several sources, those calls quickly led to Pelosi extending an invitation to Trump for next week. When I wrote you on the 23rd, I stated that we should work together to find a mutually agreeable date when the government has reopened to schedule this year's State of the Union, Pelosi said in her Monday letter to Trump. In our conversation today, we agreed on February 5th. The State of the Union is the biggest annual event for political Washington, and logistics needed to put it together are formidable. Security for the address is extraordinary as the president, vice president, cabinet members, Congress, Supreme Court, military leaders, and diplomatic corps gather inside the Capitol. The event is declared a national special security event, meaning extensive resources and thousands of personnel from federal government, including some military troops, are brought in to help guard the area. For the media, especially the TV networks, the address requires a huge investment in equipment and resources as well. Hundreds of reporters attend the session, with Statutory Hall turned into a interview room for dozens of TV cameras. So there is that article, folks. Looks like that's going on February 5th, which is next Tuesday. Not tomorrow, but the following Tuesday. So we will definitely be bringing that on the Patriot Tech. If you're not subscribed, make sure you are. I'm going to look in here just to see if anything else has popped off. Anything else today that we need to cover, need to go over. So also we got President Trump hits Maradio with sanctions, right? Crisis underscores need for the border wall. Here we go. BuzzFeed laying off. That's pretty interesting. Lots of these. So LOL, BuzzFeed lays off their I hate white people guy in Washington. So John Stanton, the manager of BuzzFeed Washington branch, when it was a valuable company, is no longer with BuzzFeed. So John R. Stanton, I've been laid off. I'm extremely proud of the work and my colleagues have done in my 6.5 years at BuzzFeed. It was an extraordinary group of reporters and editors to work with. Stanton was formerly a senior national correspondent or national reporter for BuzzFeed News after joining the company as a DC bureau chief in 2012. If it's going to be like this after HRC interview, I'm going to lock y'all in a room with a naked meth-addled Philip P. Rain. He's tweeted back in 2014. So this guy hate white people too much for that. Stanton was referring to a Clinton interview in the time period before Clinton lost her bid for presidency to President Donald Trump. You should watch hockey because caused me to miss all that. A user currently named Vote November 6 tweeted to Stanton. I hate white people too much for that. Talking about hockey. So there you go. This guy, he's a real piece. I don't even want to waste much more of your time on that article, but yeah, so lots of people, I think 15% of the staff. Planned Parenthood introduces chatbot for teens. That's real great. WikiLeaks 3 hours ago slams New York Times for colluding with intelligence agencies. So after the New York Times published an opinion piece suggesting WikiLeaks and Roger Stone colluded with Russia, WikiLeaks provided a powerful response. The New York Times published an opinion piece questioning whether President Donald J. Trump's campaign could have possibly not known that receiving information about WikiLeaks constituted Russian collusion, an idea that holds no grounds in reality. The United States government has never suggested that WikiLeaks worked with Russia, and Robert Mueller's special counsel has never spoken with WikiLeaks representatives or Julian Assange. After the Times posted the article to Twitter, WikiLeaks replied that not even the U.S. government alleges such nonsense, and pointed out that it has long been shown that the New York Times and its owners knowingly conspired with intelligence agencies, and provided a link to a 1977 article written by Carl Bernstein, the journalist who exposed President Nixon's Watergate scandal. So we got Alsop is one of the more than 400 American journalists who in the past 25 years has secretly carried out assignments for the CIA. According to documents on file at CIA headquarters, some of these journalists' relationships with agencies were tacit, some were explicit, and there was cooperation, accommodation, and overlap. Journalists provided a full range of clandestine services, from simple intelligence gathering to serving as go-betweens with spies in communist countries. Reporters share their notebooks with the CIA. So this is laying out what we already know, folks. A lot of these complicit, these news agencies have relied on leaks in the past. That's one thing with the Trump administration. The military intelligence at this point, they're not getting anything. There's nobody left. All the people that had intel, that had the knowledge, have lost their clearances, have had them revoked. And they're not getting their narrative anymore. That's why we've even seen a shift in the news go from pretty much slightly crazy to full-blown super crazy right in front of us, to where now it is just all opinion piece. I watch a little bit of everything so I can see their angle. I like to study the enemies. I like to study their art of crap. But and also at one point they are, all of them are going to start having, at one point, report truth, because it's all that's going to be there. Now, how they spin it will still be remains to be seen. But we know that eventually, at the last hours, there will be no denying what's coming out. All right, we've had to listen to this garbage for years. And here you go. We know about the secure drops. We know about the agendas. We know how they, it's not everybody, but it is a huge agenda that's driven from the top down. All right. If you don't comply, you won't be there. All right. If you go off the rails and you start reading your own thing, you don't last. Look at some of these other people that have gone against Hillary at the last minute, despite everyone around them, because these people probably battle at home. They're probably staring in the mirror. They hate themselves for what they have to do, but then they go into work. Not all of them. Some of them are actually hook, line, and sinkered into it. Others have seen it. They know the truth, and they can't live with themselves, folks. It becomes really hard. It becomes a daily battle to have to run nothing but lies and deception, especially if you start catching on. All right, just wanted to bring you those couple of tidbits of articles. We'll be back with more, of course, later on. I'm Mike. This is a Patriot Hour. God bless each and every one of you. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Take a look in the description box. The link will be down below for the articles. And if you want to support the channel in any way, the links are down there for that. Other than monetary, you can just share the video. We love that. Share it across all of your platforms, all your social media, while you can. And make sure you're subscribed and ring the bell. That way any videos we put out, you get the alert. All right, thank you. Have a great evening. We'll see you back here real soon.